As we were doing the show today, a story broke that I wanted to share with you. When it comes to the issue of shutting down the border, something that Donald Trump has been threatening America with doing, Cenk made the prediction that if he does pull the trigger and if he does shut down the border, he will try to not face the consequences of that by blaming Democrats. And he has already planted the seed for that strategy should he actually end up closing the border. So he says the following to the press: Congress has to meet quickly and make a deal. I could do it in 45 minutes. We need to get rid of chain migration. So he's saying Congress needs to get together and they need to pass reforms that would essentially do away with chain migration.
Can I just, before we get to the aha moment, chain migration is when your family sponsors you to come here. It is the most common form of legal migration. So all these years, the Republican Party said, no, we're for legal immigrants. We're just against illegal immigrants. Not true. The minute they have a chance, they're against legal immigration. They want to shut down almost all of it, and they call it chain migration.
So again, Trump continues to say that Congress must act in order to keep the border open. He says we need to get rid of catch and release and visa lottery, and we have to do something about asylum. And to be honest with you, we have to get rid of judges. No, he literally said that. I'm reading his quote verbatim, okay? And to be honest with you, we have to get rid of judges.
So if you're wondering why we sometimes call him a fascist wannabe, well, that's why. No person who believes in the American system of government believes we should be getting rid of judges. Now, if your main defense is, no, look, to be fair, Trump's an idiot and doesn't know the words coming out of his mouth, which is a very common defense by MAGA guys, and I'm not kidding. No, you can't take him literally. You have to just take his lies and his fascist statements and his outrageous statements and pretend that they're not outrageous statements and that they're perfectly reasonable. We're not gonna pretend, that's what he said. So even if you think, oh no, it's okay because he's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's saying, he means get rid of judges in this case. Well, that doesn't make it much better at all. So he's saying, instead of doing things through the rule of law like we normally do, somebody comes in and they ask for asylum, we go through a legal process. He's saying, just get rid of the legal process. Who cares about rule of law? Let's just ignore it. That is not what an American president is supposed to stand for, getting rid of judges.
And so he's very clear about the fact that he doesn't believe in the laws that we currently have. So for instance, if someone comes to the border through a port of entry and is seeking asylum, that individual gets to go in front of a judge, and the judge gets to decide whether or not they get asylum. And if a person has come into the country through any other means without going through a legal port of entry, if they are seeking asylum, they still get to go before a judge, and a judge makes a decision about whether or not they're granted asylum. I say that because those are our laws, and Trump is very clear in stating that he thinks we should get rid of judges, and he says that he does not want to give people who have entered the country illegally an opportunity to go before a judge.
Now, one last quick thing about that. Remember, this is the same guy who said that perhaps working with law enforcement should be made illegal. So that's when he was being investigated. So here's a guy who doesn't believe in cooperating with law enforcement or judges, and you wonder why we think he's a fascist. Okay, but overall, this is the quickest prediction I've ever had come true. Earlier in the show, I said he would blame Democrats for for shutting down the border that he's shutting down, and would say, hey, I opened it up for you guys. And here he is, just about an hour later, saying, oh, it's Congress's fault. I gotta open it up, it's their fault.
Right, now, what he has done, which we haven't seen previously, is he's kind of set the stage. Should he shut down the border, and should that backfire on him, he can go back and say, well, I told congressional Democrats that they gotta do something about these policies. They didn't, and so I had to do what I had to do. I think that's what he's planning on doing, but who knows? Who knows what he's doing?
And he does both all the time. And again, since his followers are not attached to logic, he says things like, I shut down the border because I had to keep America safe, okay? And the Democrats shut down the border because they wouldn't listen to me. But wait a minute, so who was it? Was it you or was it the Democrats? It's me when I'm protecting you. It's the Democrats when it's their fault. With the cars, we won't be able to make any more cars. That's them. protection, me. I shut it down, they did. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.